was called to the New England Mission, which at that time consisted of the New England states. What was there, 6 of them or something? Rhode Island, Connecticut, Massachusetts, Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine, and the 3 maritime provinces up in Canada, New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, Prince Edward Island, and even extended into Greenland, where there was a military installation. Well, my mother was pretty happy about it, but I didn't even know where it was at. I thought maybe I was going to go to China or something like that. But anyway, I began to study it and looked at the New Brunswick, where they have those huge tides that come in 20, 30, 40 feet each night. So I thought, well, if they ever got up there, that would be interesting. But it was all new to me. Didn't really know what was happening. Anyway, it turned out good. Well, probably several of them. Some of them were the companions that I got to serve with, and the mission presidents. I had 3 of them. One of them was Edgar B. Brossard, that was chairman of the United States Tariff Commission under 5 presidents of the United States, and his wife was Laura Callie Brossard, who was a sister to Matthew and Sam Callie. Matthew Callie was in the Quorum of the 12. Anyway, I think to see some of the individuals come into the church and to know the progress that they made, and in particular one family, he became a patriarch, served a mission. He now passed away, but his wife is still there, and the posterity of those 2, the brother and sister, just, I don't know, you're probably approaching 60, 70 people at least, maybe even 100. Well, I think from companions, each one are different. And I think this is one of the lessons that you learn in life, is to adjust to the various personalities and how to handle them and how to work together so that you can be a team. And my first companion, he and I still keep in touch with one another. He's since served a mission into Mexico with his wife and a few other things. But and then one I lost, well, 2 of them I lost kind of contact with. I only had about 5 companions from the standpoint of being in the mission field. But there were a set of twins, and we were only together a month up into Nova Scotia, and then we were replaced by a couple. But the one companion that probably I worked the closest with was Dave Long in Cucamonga, California. But he was in the Marines, and then came on his mission. And anyway, I learned a tremendous amount from him. probably a near genius, had a tough time with the reading and everything else, and that's a long story. But I think the thing that I learned most is how to work with people. And then I spent probably 10 and a half months, 11 months in the mission home. Derek, I don't remember a common phrase. That's been too many years. I think that, I don't know, I guess we were a little bit of mavericks in our mission because we were using Mr. Brown or Mr. Gray or whatever it was, but we memorized all of that. But when it came to the restoration lesson, we made up our own lesson and did it with flannel boards, and because I had a little bit of art background and could print well, we fixed our own lesson up. But I think just teaching people and learning how to react with them, and then working together. And then in the mission home, it was a whole different ballgame because it was all administrative. And back then, I was the one that got to transfer all the sisters. It's not quite like it is today, but it was a good experience, and to work directly with mission presidents and I was the mission secretary, and so I pretty well supervised or worked with all of the office staff and making sure that the mission ran smoothly. So it's all of that administrative deal that helped me later on. Well, it's interesting, the personalities of mission presidents. My first mission president was very exacting. It was a businessman, and things pretty well had to go the way that he said they were. And then when President Brossard came in, it was a whole different ballgame. He demanded respect just by his personality. He was about 6'6", in a way I imagine 200 and maybe 50 pounds. But the knowledge and the understanding that he had of people, his gentle way, you just knew what he was. And then his wife, Sister Prosper, was just a ball of fire. But and then Johnny Carr came in, and he brought his whole family with him. And so it was up to me to take care of that family, because when he hit, he had mission conferences that were scheduled, or district conferences, whatever you want to call them. And so he had to leave the next day. So I had registered him in school and a few other things. And they were a lot of private schools in New England. Most of them just didn't go to the public schools. So he went to a school that was not far from Longfellow Park, just across the street and down the road a bit. And it was interesting to go back there some 40, 50 years later. And the steakhouse that was there, or the building that was there, when we were there, it was Mission. But it had become a steak. And I think there were there's 3 or 4 steaks now, maybe more than that. But anyway, it was interesting to see the building was the same, except for where they had moved out the mission offices and went to a kind of a southwest part of Boston there. And a few months later was when the fire hit that building, so they had to rebuild it. But because it was in Longfellow Park, which was in honor of Henry W. Longfellow, they kept the building there. And it didn't destroy it totally, but it needed remodeling. So I was in a historical place as far as this country was concerned. So that had a definite influence on people and how they reacted to you. And they were very set in their ways for the most part. And you either had Catholicism or you had the liberal side of Protestantism. That's who you dealt with when you were out teaching the gospel.